Royals are coming off the franchise's best April on record thanks to a number of things. The most consistent, the O's own one of baseball's best offenses. The O's are top 10 in runs batted in, batting average, and on-base percentage. The bullpen is jumping up to the top of the team's backbone. 2.86 ERA entering tonight, the lowest in baseball. The Birds have not done that since the 70s. And soon the bullpen will be fully staffed. Dylan Tate and Michael Givens both getting rehab innings in Bowie today. Givens a scoreless inning, Tate 2 runs on 3 hits. Both could make their season debuts this month. Ravens general manager Eric DeCosta is probably walking around lighter these days. After an emotional and stressful 2 years in the making deal for that Lamar Jackson extension, DeCosta not only won last week, but the entire NFL offseason. What a difference one day can make, and 72 hours in total when you lump in the Ravens extending Lamar Jackson before the draft started last Thursday, and then adding 6 new players throughout the draft.
It's been a whirlwind of different emotions, and we've worked very hard to get going, and I think at some point we started to build some momentum, which was nice, and here we are. And it's you know, I think we would all say we're pretty tired, but it's a good tired. You know, there's a bad tired and a good tired. This is a good tired.
After the firing of Juan Dixon, Coppin State found his replacement in Larry Stewart as men's basketball coach. Stewart has been an assistant at Bowie State, UMES, and 2 stints with Morgan State, including last season. He's one of the best players to come out of Coppin and played 5 seasons in the NBA.
And a quick look at your in-depth weekend forecast. Notice on Friday, some dry skies mainly. There could be an outside chance of a spurt since Saturday's nice looking. Actually, just some patchy clouds and high temperatures near 70. And Sunday, I had to throw it in. Take a look at the GFS future scan computer model. Yeah, there could be a sprinkle late in the day. It looks like it's mainly west and south of us, but nonetheless, I'm going to throw that in there just in case, kind of cover things. But temperatures in the mid-60s on Friday, pop-up PM spritz, and that weekend overall looking a lot better than what we're dealing with now.
Jonathan, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, a victim identified in the deadly armed robbery at a Canton shopping center. Why it's deja vu for one local business owner who says the city isn't doing enough to keep businesses and residents safe. And another court decision in the Adnan Syed case, what Syed's attorney is saying about the most recent ruling.
Fox 45 News following breaking news in Towson. Baltimore County Police has tactical units, and we will have more on that in a minute. First, Adnan Syed's request to dismiss his reinstated murder conviction has been denied. A look what his legal team is saying and what it could mean for the future of his case.
I go back to the counter here, grabbed my gun, turned around, he turned around, started to come at me, and I shot him.
A city store owner fighting for her life against an armed robber. She tells her story to Fox 45 News after a Canton employee was killed over the weekend. With Title 42 set to expire, thousands of migrants are preparing to cross the border. Now, one Texas city calls for a state of emergency.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Tonight, we are continuing to follow a city in crisis as it has taken the life of yet another person. 23-year-old Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez has died after being shot at the Canton T-Mobile store this weekend. Gonzalez was working at the store when he was shot during an armed robbery. Gonzalez's case is hitting close to home for one Highlandtown store owner. She says back in March, she fought off an armed robber who entered her store. Now she's calling for leaders to do more to protect businesses like hers in the city. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell has her story.
The Baltimore Police Department identifying the 23-year-old T-Mobile store employee who was shot and killed in this armed robbery as Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez. This case is especially troubling to a Baltimore business owner who says her shop has been robbed at gunpoint twice in the past 6 months.
In Highlandtown, here on Eastern Avenue, Jody Rossoff sits inside Doc's smoke shop.
1999, 30 off.
The business she's owned for more than 40 years.
Anything else?
Her mind on the 23-year-old T-Mobile employee, Fabian Sanchez Gonzalez, who police say has now died after he was shot by an armed robber inside the cell phone store in Canton this past Sunday.
2500 Boston, T-Mobile, mail shot inside of location.
A situation she found herself in just weeks ago.
I can't handle that. I'm sad for him. I'm sad for his family, the PTSD that it's bringing back to me. I can't. It's crazy.
Back in March, Rossoff's shop was robbed at gunpoint. It was the second time in 6 months. This time, the owner finding herself in a fight for her life, and it was all captured on surveillance.
My heart is beating just thinking of it.
Rossoff says a man walked into the store posing as a customer, when suddenly he pulled out a gun and demanded cash and merchandise.
About 5 minutes into the conversation, he pulls out a gun and he says, "I'll take everything." I opened the register. I pressed the hold-up alarm. I went behind the counter, but I wasn't going to bend down with a man with a gun, So I said to him, "If you want it, you take it." He came after me and we got into a scuffle. I go back to the counter here, grabbed my gun, turned around, he turned around, started to come at me, and I shot him.
Police arrested the suspect and later identified him as Jerome Owens, a convicted felon with a criminal history that spans more than 25 years, with previous arrests for robbery, theft, burglary, and drug distribution. Rossoff frustrated by the level of crime in Baltimore, but also the handling of criminals.
This is our second armed robbery in 6 months. We have been here in the city for 44 years. For 44 years, we have paid property taxes, we have paid retail sales taxes, we have employed people. Shame on the mayor, shame on, the judges and the prosecutors and our former state's attorney for letting this happen to Baltimore City.
Now all merchandise must go. Rossoff has made the decision after more than 40 years in business here in Baltimore.
But you've been good through the years.
To close her shop.
Nobody wants to be afraid to come into their business. The 22-year-old is dead because the city is uncontrollable. Because the people, these criminals who are nothing but cowards, think that they have the right to steal from people and harm them. And they're still out there.
And back to the T-Mobile case, the commissioner briefly speaking to the investigation yesterday, saying they're collecting evidence and interviewing any witnesses. We know there are other customers inside the store at the time of this armed robbery. No suspect information has been provided. Reporting outside police headquarters, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
And Councilmember Zeke Cohen, who represents the neighborhood, calling the killing of that employee at the T-Mobile store a cold-blooded and heartless murder. Cohen says he spoke to BPD about the need to swiftly find a suspect in that case. He also spoke to the victim's family, saying he deserves better and won't be forgotten. Councilman Cohen is part of the Public Safety and Government Operations Committee. Now, that committee has scheduled a hearing next week on crime reduction and violence prevention. It's asking police, MONSE, and other agency members to provide updates on the crime fight. Last week, a similar hearing was scheduled but canceled the day after 12 people were shot in 12 hours. Now, Fox 45 News following breaking news right now in Towson. Baltimore County Police has tactical units, their hazardous device team at the Towson Place Shopping Center. There is a very large police and fire presence that we have been seeing going in and entrance by the TJ Maxx. 2 businesses have been evacuated there. There's also a furniture store, Haverty's, but police are not saying what they're investigating. This is close to the Target, which is on the other side. There's a Michael's and a Walmart in the shopping center as well. Police are saying there is a potential threat there right now. We'll keep you updated as the situation continues to unfold there. Well, a shooting in East Baltimore this afternoon, leaving 1 man injured. It happened just after noontime. Police say they were patrolling near the 1800 block of North Washington Street when they heard gunfire. Officers tell Fox 45 News they found a man had been shot in the leg. Anybody with information is asked to call police. A new Goucher poll revealing that reducing crime is the most important thing to Marylanders. This as many lawmakers chose not to act on bills that would impose tougher sentences on criminals in Annapolis. Fox 45's Maxine Stryker has a closer look at the results.
Of those polled, 83% said that reducing crime was their #1 concern, especially right here in Baltimore, where we know that 89 people have been killed already this year. A political expert we spoke with says after a session where only small things were done to address crime in Annapolis this year, this number here should put lawmakers on high alert. The latest Goucher poll released Tuesday pointing out exactly what's important to Marylanders.
I wasn't that surprised that crime's considered an important thing.
Of 800 Maryland residents surveyed, 83% said reducing crime is extremely or very important.
People, when they have a crime experience, it's always bad, and it's hard for people to get over a lot of them. So I think that the fact that people are concerned about the crime issue is something that I think that the governor needs to listen to a little bit on.
But are lawmakers, including Governor Westmore, listening? During the session, which ended less than a month ago, 66 people were killed in Baltimore City. And this year alone in Baltimore, 10 juveniles have been killed.
Madam Speaker, to explain my vote.
Yet Annapolis lawmakers failed to address the issue. A bill allowing kids 13 and younger to face charges went nowhere, and no action was taken on implementing tougher penalties for repeat violent offenders or making the theft of a gun a felony. The penalty was raised for those illegally possessing a gun, but that plan only focused on offenders 21 and older. Meanwhile, a bill limiting legal gun owners got the green light.
We're attacking folks that are doing the right thing, having a classroom hours, going to get the certification, and are more cognizant about the challenges if they are able to use their firearm, but being in a situation if they do have to, that it would be there versus the illegal firearms. We're doing things kind of backwards.
Political analyst John Deedy.
While this year they nipped at a few little things on crime, they passed the legislation Ivan Bates wanted. I think that next year, this is a good bat signal for Democrats to say, we need to kind of focus on a couple things and get a little focus on what to do about this issue.
Just last week, Governor Moore was asked what he says to Republicans who say he hasn't been tough enough on crime.
I'd say for the past 8 years, we have watched a doubling of the homicide rate in the state of Maryland. So their plans weren't working. For the past 8 years, we have watched a doubling of the rate of non-fatal shootings in the state of Maryland. Whatever was being done before, that wasn't working, because we've continued to watch our communities feel less safe. And so for people who say that we're not moving aggressively enough, A, I think they're not paying attention to what we're actually doing, and B, it's interesting that they're not acknowledging, and I'm asking where they were for the past 8 years.
But when asked where he fell short in the past 100 days, Moore admitted it was in addressing crime and public safety.
And specifically when it comes to issues like crime and public safety, I'm not waiting for the next legislative session in order to get the work done that needs to be done.
Improving public schools is another issue that's top of mind for Marylanders. According to the Goucher poll, 83% of those who participated said this issue is very important. In Baltimore, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 News is following more breaking news. A Maryland appeals court has denied Adnan Syed's request that the court review its decision to reinstate his murder conviction. The court denied that request because, quote, it is based on an argument not previously raised. A Baltimore City judge ruled to vacate Syed's sentence last year. In March, an appeals court reinstated Syed's conviction, saying that the state violated the Lee's family's right to attend the hearing on the motion to vacate. Adnan Syed was accused of killing his ex-girlfriend, Hayman Lee, back in 1999. He spent more than 2 decades in prison. Now, in a statement, Syed's attorney said in part that an appeals court's job is to assess errors in cases that could impact proceedings and that they're upset the Maryland Court of Appeals did not do that for Syed's case. His attorney also says that she will be taking this case to the Supreme Court of Maryland. That's the state's highest court.
Well, thousands of TV and film writers heading to the picket line. Their demands and what you'll notice starting tonight due to the strike. A new study backs up how you feel about terrible traffic in Maryland. Next, to look at that data and how much money you lost burning fuel stuck in traffic.
And more of the same on into tonight with lots of clouds, some evening showers, cool temperatures. I'm going to let you know when we finally break the pattern and we get some sun and 70s in here. This is my Weather Authority forecast.
All right, we're going to update that breaking news in Towson, where police are investigating what they now are calling a suspicious package in the area of the TJ Maxx. We know 2 businesses have been evacuated, but not which ones. A very large police and fire presence will be on the scene in the surrounding area. Stay with us on air and at foxbaltimore.com for any updates as they come in. Well, most Maryland drivers will definitely agree there is a traffic problem across the state, and now the data backs up those concerns. A new study from Trip shows Maryland drivers burn nearly $6 billion in fuel waiting on congested roads last year.
In the Baltimore urban area, Trip estimates the traffic congestion costs the average motorist to spend an additional 59 hours stuck in traffic annually and burning an additional 22 gallons of fuel. And the impact or the cost of that loss of time and fuel is $1,371.
Well, traffic dropped by nearly 50% during the pandemic, with more people staying at home, but those numbers are already back to pre-COVID levels. Southwest Airlines' main competitor at BWI is expanding. Spirit Airlines is offering a second daily nonstop flight from BWI to San Juan, Puerto Rico. The new route starts on Friday. Frontier and Southwest also have nonstop flights to San Juan, but only once a day. Well, it's going to be burning up this summer in Baltimore. The Jonas Brothers are bringing their 5 albums one night tour to Charm City on September 22nd. The concert will be at CFG Bank Arena. Fans can pre-register for tickets at the Jonas Brothers website through this Saturday. And making headlines tonight, thousands of TV and film writers are heading to the picket line after contract negotiations with the major TV and film studios failed. The Writers Guild of America voted unanimously to call for a walkout late last night. Streaming platforms and writer salaries are at the center of the dispute. The WGA says companies like Netflix and Disney Plus have created a gig economy using writers for shorter periods of time with a dip in pay.
Streaming series are half the length. They're typically 10 episodes of a network series, but more writers are drawn into the system because there are more series. So you have more writers, but less work for them to do. There's a basic mismatch in the labor market.
And you will see the immediate effects of this strike starting tonight when the late night shows such as The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon go into repeats. Depending on how long it goes on, you may also see a decline in new TV shows this summer.
Look at the Fox triple cast this evening. Latest weather maker creating clouds statewide here in Maryland, all across the Inner Harbor skies on the Toyota Inner Harbor Skycam and some of our Skycams out Ocean City Way. Very dramatic picture there with the gray. And that's because of this latest weather maker with the rain that's overhead now in Baltimore. You see here from Baltimore City down 95 to Elk Ridge, Severn, and also Severna Park, and then Annapolis as well. So you're going to be dealing with potentially some wet roadways to wrap up the PM rush, especially from Baltimore City, I-95 south and east through Howard and Anne Arundel counties. And there's some more that's off to the north and west of us, even some wintry weather, potentially some winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories into West Virginia, as well as extreme western Maryland. Not going to be any impacts around here, but the chilly rains, yep, those will keep on coming. Cool. Got one little disturbance swinging through around the bottom side, if you will, or the southern side of this storm system that's way up in Canada. This actually went to the east, kind of retrograded back through New England, is now kind of just sitting up there in portions of Canada. It gave us the rain over the weekend. If you remember the record rain, actually, that we had on Friday. We had some more showers Sunday. And now the gloominess for the early weekend. Look at this. It looks like it goes all the way through midweek. Finally, this thing dissipates, falls apart, and it moves east by Thursday. And I think Friday, we're finally looking at almost a totally rain-free forecast. And wait till you see the weekend. That's going to be up in a couple of minutes. Toyota Inner Harbor Skycam right now. It's rainy. 53 degrees. We have the gray skies. Winds out of the west-northwest at 7. But some of the gusts have been up to about 20, 30 miles an hour, as you see here on the map. So feels even chillier than it is. Temperatures are below average for this time of year, generally in the 50s, but it feels more like, say, the 40s with some of the rains and some of the breezes. Take a look at you up there in Oakland. We're raining at 34 degrees, so some of those higher peaks as you head 2 to 3,000 feet up. As you go west on 68 into western Maryland, you could be getting some snow right now. I know we had some snow earlier this morning around Savage Mountain. Now, during the overnight hours, some spot showers, sprinkles. We go with the clouds overnight, temperatures in the 40s. Guess what? Do it all over again tomorrow with high temperatures. Having a hard time getting out of the 50s. And Thursday, maybe warming back into the 60s after a dry start. Look, some more spotty showers coming in the afternoon. So tonight, 42, lots of clouds, continued unsettled. Some spotty showers in the evening, 57, lots of clouds, breezy, gloomy tomorrow. Some scattered PM showers. Those temperatures go to the 50s, 60s, even 70s to near 80. I'm going to let you know when in my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
More flooding in Maine today following 5 inches of rainfall on Sunday. This is the Kennebec River in downtown Gardner. 5 inches of snow fell near Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and a little more snow could fall tomorrow. And a picture-perfect reflection of Washington's Mount Si in Mill Pond. An estimated 100,000 people hike this mountain every year.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
There's more than the last time.
We have around 200 people around.
Sadly, it's bothersome.
For nearly a week, migrants have been camped out around Sacred Heart Church. And while the majority of them remain inches away from the church during the day, others try to cool off near the shade businesses and apartments give off. At night, they sleep inches away from the front door of many of those same businesses and apartments in the area.
They don't let me sleep.